Welcome to Kindle English Podcast, your cozy space to learn, grow, and speak confidently.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Kindle English Podcast on YouTube. I'm so happy you're here with us today. Okay, I want to start with something that honestly kind of blew my mind. What if just 10 minutes of planning could completely change how your entire week feels? Like, imagine waking up on Monday morning with total clarity instead of that Sunday night dread, that chaos of not knowing what's coming. You know exactly what to focus on each day, and here's the fun part. You know how to talk about all of it confidently in English.
Okay, Hazel, I'm already feeling called out because my Mondays usually start with me staring at my phone like, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
Honestly, that used to be me too. But today, I'm going to walk you through how I actually organize my week, step by step. And while we do that, we're going to learn some really natural, real-life English phrases for planning, scheduling, and staying productive. So by the end of this episode, you won't just feel more organized. You'll sound more confident talking about your daily life in English.
I love that. And honestly, I think this is one of those topics that everyone needs, but nobody really talks about in English learning, right? Like, how do you actually describe your routine, your planning process, without sounding like a robot reading a textbook?
Exactly. That's what we're here for.
And hey, if you're new here, welcome to the crew. Do us a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button for Kindle English Podcast. Smash the like. And if you know someone who's trying to get their life together and improve their English at the same time, share this episode with them. 2 birds, 1 stone.
It really means so much when you do that. Okay, so Finn, let me ask you this. Do you actually plan your week, or are you more of a go-with-the-flow kind of person?
I want to say I plan my week, but the reality is I kind of just wing it. Like, I'll have a vague idea in my head, but nothing written down.
See, and that's what so many people do. They just wing it. And for anyone listening who doesn't know that phrase, to wing it means to do something without preparation, without a plan, just kind of figuring it out as you go.
Which sounds cool and spontaneous until it's Wednesday and you've accomplished nothing and you're panicking.
Been there. So today, we're going to fix that, for both of us and for everyone listening.
Okay, but Hazel, I think the reason a lot of people don't plan is because it feels overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? You've got work stuff, personal stuff, errands, social commitments. It's a lot.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I think part of the problem is that people try to plan everything at once. They sit down and they want to map out every single hour of every single day, and it's not realistic.
Okay, good, because I tried that once. I had this color-coded spreadsheet. It looked beautiful, and I abandoned it by Tuesday.
A color-coded spreadsheet. I love that though. Okay, so here's what I've learned, and this is something I want everyone to take away. The key is to prioritize, and I mean really prioritize. Not just make a list of 50 things and hope you get through them.
When you say prioritize, what does that actually look like for you? Because I feel like everyone says prioritize, but nobody explains what that means in practice.
Such a good point. So to prioritize means to decide what's most important and put that first. It's about ranking your tasks by importance or urgency. So on a Sunday night, I don't write down everything I need to do. I pick the 3 things, maximum 5, that absolutely have to happen that week. Those are my non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. I like that word. So those are the things that no matter what happens, you're doing them?
Exactly. Non-negotiables are the things you commit to no matter what. They're not optional, they're happening. So for me, that might be finishing a project deadline, going to the gym 3 times, and recording a podcast episode. Those are locked in. Everything else is flexible.
That's interesting because I think a lot of English learners might not know that expression, non-negotiable. You hear it a lot in American English, right? Like, my morning coffee is non-negotiable.
Yes, exactly like that. You'll hear Americans say that all the time. Sleep is non-negotiable for me. Family dinner on Sunday is non-negotiable. It just means it's fixed. It's not up for debate.
I feel like my non-negotiable is my morning coffee. If I don't have that, nobody should talk to me.
Fair enough. That's a valid non-negotiable. So let me walk you through what my actual Sunday night planning looks like, because I think it'll help make this concrete.
Yeah, take us through it. I'm genuinely curious because I need to steal your system.
Steal away. So every Sunday evening, usually around 8 or 9 p.m., I do what I call a weekly reset. I sit down with my planner. Sometimes it's a notebook, sometimes it's an app on my phone, and I spend about 10 minutes looking at the week ahead.
Just 10 minutes? Really? Because I feel like planning would take way longer than that.
Honestly, once you get into the habit, 10 minutes is all you need. And here's the thing, I don't try to plan every detail. I'm just setting my intentions for the week. I look at my calendar, I check what meetings I have, what deadlines are coming up, and then I ask myself one question. What would make this week feel successful?
Oh, I really like that framing. What would make this week feel successful? That takes the pressure off, actually.
It does, because instead of thinking about all the things you should do, you're focusing on what matters most. And that's where the prioritizing comes in again.
Curious, do you use any specific method? Like, I've heard people talk about time blocking. Is that what you do?
Yes, I'm a huge fan of time blocking. So for anyone who doesn't know, time blocking is when you take your day and you assign specific tasks to specific blocks of time. So instead of having this vague to-do list, you actually put things on your calendar, like 9 to 11 a.m., work on the presentation, 11 to 12, answer emails, 1 to 2, gym.
So you're basically scheduling your tasks like they're appointments with yourself.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to think about it. You're making an appointment with yourself, and that makes you way more likely to actually do the thing, because it's not just floating on a list somewhere, it has a time and a place.
Okay, I'll be honest. That sounds amazing in theory, but I'm terrible at sticking to schedules. Like, what happens when life interrupts? Because it always does.
Of course it does. And that's why you need buffer time. That's another really important concept. Buffer time is the extra time you leave between tasks or activities, just in case something takes longer than expected or something unexpected pops up.
So you don't pack your schedule completely tight.
Never. I always leave at least 30 minutes of buffer time between major tasks. So if a meeting runs long or if I need a mental break, I have that cushion. It keeps me from feeling overwhelmed.
Buffer time. I need to write that down. Honestly, that might change my whole approach, because I always pack things too tight and then I feel like a failure when I can't keep up.
And that's so common. You're not alone in that. The trick is to be realistic about how long things actually take. We always underestimate.
Okay, Hazel, here's something I've been hearing about a lot lately. Batching. People talk about batching their work. What is that exactly?
Oh, I love batching. So batching, or some people say task batching, is when you group similar tasks together and do them all in one go, instead of switching between different types of work throughout the day.
Give me an example, because I'm not sure I get it.
Sure. So let's say you need to answer emails, respond to messages, and make phone calls. Instead of doing one email, then switching to a project, then answering another email, then making a call, you batch all your communication tasks together. You do all your emails and messages in one block of time, maybe 30 minutes in the morning. Then you move on to something else entirely.
Oh, so you're not constantly switching between different types of tasks. You're grouping them.
Exactly. And the reason this works so well is because every time you switch between tasks, your brain needs time to refocus. It's called context switching, and it actually wastes a lot of mental energy. So when you batch, you're being way more efficient because your brain stays in one mode.
That makes so much sense. It's like, okay, here's my analogy. It's like doing laundry. You don't wash one shirt, dry it, fold it, put it away, then wash the next shirt. You do all the washing, then all the drying, then all the folding.
That is a perfect analogy, Finn. Yes, exactly like that.
See, I have my moments.
You do. And I batch a lot of things. I batch my podcast recording. I'll record 2 or 3 episodes in one day. I batch my grocery shopping with other errands. I even batch my social media responses.
You know what? I actually do this without realizing it. Like on Saturdays, I do all my cleaning in one go. I never thought of it as batching, but it is.
It totally is. And once you start being intentional about it, you can streamline your whole week. And that's another great word, streamline. To streamline something means to make it more efficient, to remove unnecessary steps or complications.
Streamline? Like making something smoother and faster?
Exactly. You're cutting out the waste. So when I streamline my morning routine, I'm figuring out how to get ready faster without cutting corners. When a company streamlines their process, they're making it less complicated.
I need to streamline my morning because right now it takes me like an hour and a half to leave the house and I don't even know where the time goes.
We need to have a whole separate episode about morning routines, honestly.
Okay, so here's something I want to ask you about. I've heard people say they front load their week. What does that mean?
Oh yes, front-loading is one of my favorite strategies. So to front-load your week means to put your hardest, most important tasks at the beginning of the week, like Monday and Tuesday, when your energy is highest. So by Wednesday or Thursday, the heavy lifting is done and you can coast a little.
But what if you're not a Monday person? Like, I'm barely functional on Mondays.
I hear you, but here's the thing. Even if Monday feels hard, your willpower and mental energy are usually highest at the start of the week. You've just had the weekend to rest, so that's when you want to tackle the big stuff.
Okay, that actually makes sense. So you're saying don't save the hard things for Friday?
Never save the hard things for Friday. By Friday, you're drained. You've been making decisions all week. Your brain is tired. So if you front load, you get the wins early and the rest of the week feels lighter.
I've literally been doing the opposite. I always push hard tasks to later in the week, which means they end up on Friday afternoon, and then I'm stressed all weekend because I didn't finish them.
And then you procrastinate, which is another word everyone knows, but everyone does. To procrastinate means to delay or put off tasks that you need to do, usually because they feel difficult or unpleasant.
I am the king of procrastination. Like, my apartment has never been cleaner than when I have a big deadline. Suddenly, I need to organize my bookshelf alphabetically.
That is such a classic procrastination move. Doing something productive that isn't the thing you actually need to do.
It's called productive procrastination, Hazel. I'm not wasting time, I'm organizing.
Sure, Finn, sure. But seriously, front-loading helps with procrastination because you're tackling things when your resistance is lowest.
That's actually really smart. I'm going to try front-loading next week. Put the scary stuff on Monday.
Do it, and then let me know how it goes. I bet you'll feel so much better by Wednesday.
Okay, Hazel. There's something I struggle with when it comes to planning my week, and I think a lot of people can relate. I try to do everything myself. Like, I don't know how to delegate.
Oh, Finn, that's such a common thing. And it's honestly something I struggled with for years too. To delegate means to assign tasks to other people, to let someone else handle something instead of doing it all yourself.
But I always feel like if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, but you are burning yourself out. And here's what I've learned. Delegating isn't about giving up control. It's about being strategic with your energy. You can't do everything, and you shouldn't try.
I know. It's just hard. Like, at work, I'll spend an hour doing something a colleague could easily do just because I didn't want to ask.
And that's an hour you could have spent on something that actually requires your specific skills. Think about it. When you delegate the smaller tasks, you free up time for the things only you can do.
Is delegating a big thing in American work culture? Because I feel like in the US, there's this weird balance between being a team player and being seen as lazy if you pass things off.
That's a really interesting point. In American work culture, delegating is actually seen as a leadership skill. Like, good managers delegate effectively. It's not lazy, it's smart. But I think for a lot of people, especially if you're new in a job or in a new country, it can feel uncomfortable to ask for help.
That's good to know. So it's not rude?
Not at all. In fact, in the US, people often appreciate when you clearly communicate what you need from them. It shows you trust them.
And I guess delegating at home is a thing too, right? Like asking your partner or roommate to take care of certain things?
100%. And it ties into that idea of non-negotiables we talked about earlier. If your non-negotiable is getting to the gym, maybe you delegate cooking dinner to someone else that night. It's about making choices.
My roommate would probably appreciate it if I delegated the dishes to him more often. Actually, wait, that's not delegating. That's just making him do chores.
That's just fair distribution of labor, Finn.
Okay, so here's the thing about planning. The plan is only as good as your follow-through, and that's where accountability comes in.
Accountability. That's a big word. What exactly do you mean by it in this context?
So, accountability means being responsible for what you said you'd do, and having some system or person that holds you to it. Like, if I tell you, Finn, I'm going to finish editing that episode by Thursday, now you know about it. You might ask me on Thursday, hey, did you finish? And that little bit of pressure keeps me on track.
So I'm your accountability partner? I didn't even know that was my job.
You've been promoted. But seriously, having an accountability partner or an accountability system is so helpful for staying consistent. It could be a friend, a coworker, a coach, someone who checks in on your progress.
You know, that's really common in the US, right? Like people have accountability buddies for going to the gym, for diets, for work goals.
Yeah, Americans love accountability systems. You'll hear people say things like, I need someone to hold me accountable, or she keeps me accountable. It's very normal to ask for that kind of support.
You know what? When I was first learning English, I had a study partner, and we check in with each other every week. Like, did you practice your vocabulary? Did you do your listening exercises? And honestly, that accountability is what kept me going when I wanted to quit.
That's beautiful, Finn. And it works for anything. Fitness, language learning, work projects, personal goals. Having someone in your corner makes all the difference.
So how do you build accountability into your weekly planning?
A couple ways. First, I write down my non-negotiables where I can see them. They're on a sticky note on my desk. Second, I tell someone, usually a friend, what I'm planning to accomplish that week. And third, on Friday, I do a quick review. Did I do what I said I'd do? If not, why not? And no shame, just honest reflection.
I love that Friday review idea. It's like a weekly check-in with yourself.
Exactly. You're being your own accountability partner.
Okay, I'm starting this. Sunday planning, front-loading, accountability, buffer time. I'm doing the whole thing.
I love that energy.
Okay, so we've talked about the actual planning strategies, but let's make sure people know how to talk about this stuff in English, because that's what Kindle English Podcast is all about, right?
Yes, let's do a little practice. So Finn, pretend you're talking to a coworker on Monday morning. They say, hey, how's your week looking? How do you respond?
I'd probably say something like, yeah, it's a pretty packed week. I've got a lot on my plate.
Perfect. I've got a lot on my plate. That's such a natural phrase. It means you have a lot to do, a lot of responsibilities right now. You'll hear Americans say that all the time.
Okay, your turn, Hazel. Same scenario. Someone asks you how your week's looking.
I'd probably say, it's pretty manageable, actually. I front-loaded most of the hard stuff, so I should have a lighter end to the week.
See, that sounds so put together. If someone said that to me, I think they had their whole life figured out.
Fake it till you make it. But seriously, here are some phrases people can use. If your week is busy, you can say, I've got a lot on my plate. It's going to be a hectic week. I'm juggling a lot right now.
Ooh, juggling. That's a good one. Like juggling balls?
Exactly. To juggle things means to try to manage multiple tasks or responsibilities at the same time. I'm juggling work, family, and school. It's that image of trying to keep all the balls in the air.
And what if your week is chill? Like, what do you say then?
You could say, it's a pretty light week for me, or I don't have much going on, or things are winding down a bit. Winding down means gradually becoming less busy or less intense.
Winding down, like a clock winding down. Things are slowing, relaxing.
Exactly. And at work, if someone asks about a project, you might say, we're in the final stretch, meaning you're almost done. Or things are ramping up, meaning they're getting busier and more intense.
Oh, ramping up is a good one. I hear that in business context all the time. We're wrapping up for the product launch.
See? These are the kinds of phrases that make you sound natural and professional in English. Not textbook perfect, just real.
And I'd love to know from our listeners, how do you describe your week? Drop it in the comments. Like, what's your go-to phrase when someone asks how your week is going?
Okay, real talk though, Hazel. What happens when your beautiful plan just falls apart? Because that happens to everyone. Oh, it absolutely does. And I think this is where a lot of people give up on planning altogether. They have one bad week where nothing goes according to plan and they think, what's the point? Planning doesn't work for me.
Yeah, that's literally what happens to me. I make this great plan, and then Tuesday rolls around and everything's off track. And I think, well, this was a waste of time.
But here's what I want you to remember. The value of planning isn't in having a perfect week. It's in having a direction. The plan is like a compass, not a GPS with strict turn-by-turn directions.
Oh, a compass, not a GPS. I love that metaphor.
So when things go sideways, and they will, you don't throw out the whole system. You adapt. You reassess. Maybe you move something to the next day. Maybe you delegate that task you've been holding on to. Maybe you accept that one of your non-negotiables this week is just not going to happen. And that's okay.
That's actually really freeing to hear, because I think a lot of us, especially perfectionist types, feel like if we don't follow the plan perfectly, we failed.
And that's just not true. Flexibility is part of good planning. In fact, that's why we leave buffer time, remember? So when things shift, you have room to adjust without the whole thing collapsing.
My whole approach before was basically no buffer time and then being shocked when things went wrong. Like, yeah, Finn, you scheduled back to back to back with zero margin for error. Of course it fell apart.
We've all been there. And you know what phrase I love for this? Roll with the punches. That means to adapt to difficulties as they come, to stay flexible and not let setbacks knock you down.
Roll with the punches. Like in boxing, you can't block every punch, so you just go with it, keep moving.
Exactly. And the more you practice weekly planning, the better you get at rolling with the punches. You start to anticipate problems. You leave room for the unexpected. And when something does go wrong, you've got the tools to handle it without feeling like your whole week is ruined.
You know, that connects back to what you said about accountability, too. If you have someone checking in with you, they can help you reprioritize when things go off track, instead of spiraling alone.
100%. That's what support looks like. Okay, Finn, I feel like we've covered so much today. How are you feeling about your weekly planning now?
Honestly, way more motivated than when we started. I think the biggest things for me were learning about front loading, like putting the hard stuff early in the week and building in buffer time so I'm not setting myself up for failure.
Those are huge. And I hope everyone listening takes away a few things too. Whether it's starting to prioritize your top 3 tasks, trying time blocking for the first time, or even just doing a 10-minute Sunday reset. Any of those can make a real difference.
And the language stuff. Like now when someone asks you, hey, how's your week looking? You've got phrases ready. I'm juggling a lot. I've got a lot on my plate. Things are winding down. I'm trying to streamline my routine. Those are the kinds of expressions that make you sound natural.
I love that you pulled those all together. And remember, you can always come back and re-listen to this episode. Take notes. Try to use 1 or 2 of these phrases in your real life this week. That's how they stick.
And if you try front-loading your week and it actually works, come back and tell us in the comments. I want to hear the success stories. Actually, I need them for motivation because Hazel's going to hold me accountable now.
You bet I am. Friday check-in is happening whether you like it or not.
Groaning. What have I gotten myself into?
You've gotten yourself into a better, more organized life. That's what. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for spending this time with us on Kindle English Podcast. It really means the world that you're here, learning and growing with us every week.
And hey, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with someone who needs a little more structure in their life. Or, honestly, someone who just wants to sound more confident talking about their daily routine in English.
We read every single comment, so let us know, what's your non-negotiable for this week? I'm curious.
Mine is coffee. Still coffee. Always coffee.
Some things never change. All right, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone. And hey, don't just plan your week. Actually do the plan. That's where the magic happens. See you next time.
Bye.